Today's program has its roots in a 1999 cooperative venture between CILE and the University of Pittsburgh Center for Russian and East European Studies. That venture led to a State Department grant funding a partnership with Donetsk National University, Faculty of Law in Eastern Ukraine. In order to help DNU's law faculty develop its curriculum, then CILE Assistant Director Mark Walter recommended that we help the DNU students do what he had recently done as a Pitt Law student, participate in the Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot in Vienna. We did that with the first DNU team participating in 2001. We found the Moot to be a wonderful pedagogical tool, a catalyst for curriculum development, and a way of identifying some of the strongest students at DNU, whom we then assisted in attending the LLM program at Pitt Law. We later repeated the process with State Department assistants at the University of Belgrade in Serbia, Kiev National Taras Shevchenko University in Ukraine, and the University of Pristina in Kosovo. In each of these cases, it was received with enthusiasm by the best students at these universities. In 2006, I recommended that the U.S. Commerce Department's Commercial Law Development Program, CLDP, use the Vis Moot as a tool for commercial law development and legal education in the Middle East. CLDP became our partner, and we began preparing Gulf state teams for the Moot, a process that this year will involve more than 30 teams. When the competition is held in Vienna, we get all of the Pitt Consortium teams together for a friendly practice Moot before the competition and a wonderful dinner. This all results in a cooperative effort that makes the Pitt Consortium of teams not only a wonderful experiment in legal education, but a process that develops relationships around the globe. Over the years, Pitt Law students who have participated in the Moot have helped train teams in the Middle East, the Balkans, and Central Asia, with more than 25 Pitt Law graduates having traveled abroad to prepare students for the Moot. This year, the Vis Moot will be an online endeavor from start to finish. Last year, CILE and CLDP scrambled to make the 10th annual Middle East Pre-Moot, originally planned to occur in Bahrain, one of the first online Vis competitions. Engineered by Pitt Law's IT team, CILE, CLDP, and Pitt Law students and alumni from the Barco Library. It was a success, as was Pitt Law's own team, reaching the Elite 8 teams out of nearly 250 teams in Vienna at the virtual Moot. CLDP and CILE have turned the pandemic problem into a legal education opportunity by developing a virtual Vis Moot boot camp for the Middle East and Balkan teams, leading fall training sessions online and setting up the 11th annual Middle East Pre-Moot. That process has involved advisors, including at least 9 University of Pittsburgh Law School graduates who are now working with the teams in the Middle East. Today, we hear from some of those who have participated in this process. I will introduce the participants now so that we can simply move through their stories as our program progresses. And I would ask them to turn on their cameras so that you can see who they are. One of the teams we have trained from CLDP in the Middle East program was the first Afghan team in the Moot from the American University of Afghanistan. We begin today's program with a showing of Afghan Dreams, a documentary film following the experience of the 4 young women on that team. Following the film, we will hear from one of those young women, now an LLM student at Pitt Law, Duniya Stanikzai. Duniya will be interviewed by a Pitt Law LLM grad who is a member of Pitt Law's 2018 Vis Moot team, Nadine Hafaitha from Palestine. Following that interview, we will hear from some of the lawyers and development experts we have worked with at CLDP. Steve Gardner, the CLDP General Counsel, Mace Abbas Abusi, a CLDP attorney advisor who has led the effort to have a Middle East pre-moot process, and Zamarik Khan, the CLDP senior counsel responsible for taking the moot to Afghanistan, among other countries. We will follow the CLDP stories with an interview with Dr. Milena Djordjevic, a 2002 Pitt Law LLM graduate who returned to her home in Belgrade in Serbia and to the University of Belgrade, where she is an assistant professor and director of the Center for Legal Skills, and one of the creators of what has become the best of many Vis Moot programs and the annual Belgrade Arbitration Conference. Each of our participants, like literally dozens of others we have worked with in this process, has contributed to the lives of many law students in transition countries. What follows are a few of the stories in which those of us at CILE have been privileged to play a part in developing international commercial law and arbitration education programs and encouraging the rule of law. We begin with the story of Duniya Stanikzai and her colleagues in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, exotic and unforgiving. A land of sharp contrasts. Where tradition challenges the future. And tribes, ethnic groups, and nations vie for power. Where religion rules. Women struggle for equality. And the US fights its longest war. In this land of broken dreams, 4 university students prepare to compete in the world's most important contest of international commercial law. It's called the Vis Moot. This is the first time that Afghanistan participates in the contest, and the all-female team is a rarity in this male-dominated society.
Okay, good job. And also write the name of this book also.
That these young women even dream of the Vis Moot defies logic and the obstacles that stand in their way.
This is also for
We wrote this one in Samia also.
It's too bad. One even.
Their first task is to draft a document setting up the competition in Hong Kong.
First draft is important, and also it is difficult because we will do most of our research in the first draft.
That difficulty means these students must bridge the gap between Afghanistan's legal system, part Sharia law and part Western law. And they're up against a deadline.
Inshallah, we will make the deadline.
Hi, Matt.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
From her home in Kabul, Rahila Skypes with Matt Brown. He's one of 2 Washington, D.C.-based lawyers volunteering to train Rahila and her colleagues for the contest in Hong Kong. The Afghan team's training is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Commerce.
This is a very good opportunity for me to practice, to have the skills of being a good lawyer for arbitration or commercial. It's also important since we don't have a really good arbitration system in our country.
Then you also need to look at the cases, we call it like a rabbit hole or a wormhole, that once you fall into a case, then you find more and more sites and you have to keep digging and digging and digging and you fall farther and farther into it. And then eventually you come out and you have an argument, okay?
We are really happy participating in the Vis Moot for the first time. We are going to represent our country and our university.
Schwinzer, they have
Because
used Schwinzer a lot.
Schwinzer says that the CISG should apply in any case.
The most important thing is that we are going to practically learn something. We are going to share our knowledge with each other. We are going to learn something from the students, from the arbitrators. And winning and losing is not important. The important thing is learning. And for me, learning is everything.
Preparation for Hong Kong is contentious. It's an omen of things to come.
Advisory council
Let me see, I think.
to make it strong.
Okay. You cannot say this book. The arbitrator will ask
This-
which page.
Okay, which page
You cannot
I
use this
have?
page, but you can use
You
that
can
page.
use this pages.
We can cite this one
And as well that.
Cite it the way,
when we get
Duniya,
this idea for
cite it the way
this-
we cite the
this-
things.
No. We can cite this one.
Okay, do it.
Daniel Rodriguez volunteers with Matt Brown to coach the Afghan team for the Vis Moot. Matt and Daniel are former participants in the competition.
Hello, hi. Oh, you got everybody here. For your goal for today is going to be working with Rohila and Argawan and Nabila, and the four of you should be working today at least to work together to actually put this in together to one document. Why should we ignore the new terms? One sentence.
Because they signed it in a Mediterranean language, they did not understand the language.
That's it. That's exactly it. No, Duniya has it. That's all you need. That is your argument for that whole section.
With the first draft due in just one day, the team rushes to meet the deadline.
Yeah, I have this one also.
This document is really important because it's the first step for response memorandum. If we do this pretty fine, then we are not going to have any problem. Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm gonna do a little teaching now, okay? So listen, take some notes here, okay? You don't accept the loss. You keep fighting for your client.
It's a big opportunity to participate in such international competition because I want to be so smart in my profession. I can set out also my own future, my own career. And my family always supporting me to my studies. They really want that their children should be a worldwide person.
Hello?
Hello, Dan.
Hi there. Can you see me?
I can hear but cannot see you.
Oh, it's coming through now. As soon as you get the research outline, send that to me.
Heavy snow shuts down Nabila's internet connection. She uses her cell phone to communicate.
I spent $6 to get the credit and recharge my phone, and now I can use my internet.
Oh, good.
The electricity fails when it's too cold. I don't know what's the problem, but it occurs most of the time. It's a big problem for us, and especially for me when I'm doing the research.
Doing the research now and getting familiar with the arguments and talking with each other about it is the best preparation you're going to have for Hong Kong.
Back in the library and with the first draft due, Nabila, Duniya and Rohila bear down on the document. Because of the snow, Argawan can't make today's session.
Now we can send our draft to our coaches, to Matt and Daniel, and they are working on their part and I'm working on my part, and we are at the end we will join them together. She didn't have a see.
We made
I'm feeling like I'm breathing.
So tonight is sleeping night.
One step closer to Hong Kong, the team celebrates with family. It is this support, despite strict cultural rules, that enables the young women's participation in the Vis Moot. Their parents remember a time in Kabul when women were free to pursue their professional dreams. And some of these parents want that same freedom for their daughters. Along with the Afghan team, Dan Rodriguez and Matt Brown have come to Doha, capital of the Persian Gulf nation, Qatar. Here, the Afghans practice with other teams from the Middle East and North Africa. It's a dress rehearsal for the real competition in Hong Kong.
So that you can weave the argument together and try to avoid any breaks in your argument that the arbitrators can find. What page?
Page
You should all be looking at your record.
58.
Page 58.
Paragraph 11.
Because under the Article 23 Glossary of Framework and Civil Agreement,
I want to work a lot. I want to know many things because when I became a good lawyer, I will also always help women in Afghanistan because they are violated by their families, by their husbands, denied from their rights. I will be like a role model, example, and for them that they can follow my steps to take part in the development of Afghanistan.
And the change in the liability of the regime that, as the Dr. Wiss promised.
Second important point there, let's put that number 3 here, paragraph 46.
Was an arbitration specialist.
Yes.
They
okay.
were lawyers, but
They were lawyers.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. They were lawyers, but they were not arbitration specialists.
I want to give the moral to the next competitors of Afghanistan and other countries that work hard and learn and get education. This can change everything in your life.
Therefore, it's not valid.
Exactly. The agreement to arbitrate is not substantively valid.
We are volunteer in every section, every part. Nobody answers like nobody want to go first. Like a couple team is volunteer in every part.
We want
And
to go
also
voluntarily because we want to
get
the experience.
Now we are going and just relaxing for half hour. We have lots of work to do.
From landlocked Afghanistan, these young women have never seen a large body of water like the Persian Gulf. No longer an illusion, their dreams now are within their grasp.
This is day 1. This is day 2. So
This is day 2?
no, this is day 1.
Day 1.
Zamarak Khan, on behalf of the U.S. Department of Commerce, where he works, oversees the Kabul team's training for the Vis Moot. An Afghan American, it was Zamarak who handpicked the team.
Doha is primarily really designed to be a training, a preparation for Hong Kong. They will be trained on oral advocacy. My hope is for them to learn how to think like a lawyer or how to think critically. So when a set of facts are presented to them, they have the ability to analyze those facts and think creatively to argue on behalf of their client.
And your next round is at 12:15. If your team is arguing
Yes.
against another team, your job as your teammate, whether it's you sitting in that chair or someone else, is to take a paper and pen and make every critic possible of how they can improve their argument.
Or other hardware and also for that purpose he was willing, as we can see that, and as we can see that in page 23 of climate exhibition number 6. We can see that in page 61, para 23, procedural order number 2. We can see that it was sold to the other company.
And I don't believe that because it is true that it is essential, but the program depends on trainings, on development.
You keep saying that
the respondent, they signed the contract. What about their intention?
Other than the contract, it is counted as a sale of goods contract.
Do you have any case law demonstrating this kind of test?
Case law,
How does this address the relation of these two contracts?
My impression is that Arwan, she doesn't think in English. It wasn't answering in a way that was showing your understanding of the material.
She got confused and says something against herself. I should cover the weaknesses that she has.
We will have as claimant Egypt, as respondent Iraq.
Despite their initial confidence, the Afghans failed to advance in the practice competition. If they perform like this in Hong Kong, the result will be a disaster.
If you weren't disappointed, I would be disappointed, okay? The fact that you're disappointed, that shows, how excited you are and how much work you put in and how much you improved over the course.
I think the one thing they still haven't figured it out is they're not judged individually. They have to work as a team. If one team member is not as good in a particular area, that it is their responsibility to work with that team members to ensure that that team member is prepared, because if that team member is not prepared, it will affect the entire team.
The fact that you are here means that you've already become a winner. You've been chosen to represent your law school in a global competition that is already quite an honor. No one is going to leave here with a trophy or a plaque. We don't do that here. But you are going to leave with more skills, more polish, and an experience you'll remember for the rest of your lives. You're going to leave here well prepared to enter the world of transnational law.
I'm not a lawyer.
Madam Arbitrator promised
He did explain you the types of changes as he knew.
Madam Arbitrators, at no point we were aware of the application of the CISG to the sales and licensing contract.
Because you have mentioned previously that Mediterranean law is the applicable law of my contract. So why you avoided Equatorial law?
Equatorial laws is not applicable here.
Comments.
You are going so fast. Fourth, you are making so kind of faces like.
I have that. What? When I was asking questions, you're again and again you're become very emotional. Yeah. After I ask question, think a little bit and then answer my question.
Coach Dan Rodriguez can't make it to Hong Kong, but Matt and Zamarik are joined by Stephen Gardner, one of Zamarik's colleagues at the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Feeling excited. Of course, there is a little bit that we are feeling nervous, but I feel we can do very good. All our mission was to reach this day, and so now we are prepared.
I'm nervous like I'm competing.
Really?
I didn't think I would be, but it's the same feeling that I had last year, the year before, right before Iowa.
It's the Afghan team's last chance to catch their dream.
I hope that I can make my country proud. No one will remember our name, that who we are, but they will remember the Kabul team, Afghanistan team. So I hope we can make proud our team and our country.
Okay.
You will be watching us.
Have fun.
The appeal mechanism was critical to my client. The language drafted by claimant did not show my client's intention for arbitration.
As opposed to a license where permanent use would not be transferred, software will be considered a good for the purpose of the CISG.
At no point we were aware of the application of the CISG to the sales and licensing agreement.
Turning the attention to the validity of the arbitration agreement.
A system to resolve the disputes.
Now we have the skills, now we have the experience, we know the importance of our profession, so we had changed totally. We know our goals exactly today.
I'm very happy and very honored that I was, able to be sitting in that room and listening to you. Very honored.
I mean, you guys did terrific, and you were so professional. Your diction, your cadence, everything was perfect.
You knew the record extremely well.
My brother-in-law, yeah, my sister's husband. Before the competition, I was excited, but I was not nervous at all. I was just prouding myself, like, wow, I performed well. I was happy with my performance, and when the arbitrators, they gave me comments, it made me very happy that they really liked my presentation, and also my partner Argawan's presentation.
Your comments are wow. Do you understand that what wow means? Wow.
Look at my
Oh, this one was really good. It was actually better than I expected. Both Argawan and Nabila did great.
At last, they worked together as a real team.
They have accepted the Stefani arbitration rule.
Just take your time, smile, have fun. All right?
You should be very, very proud of these young ladies. What they've achieved is just remarkable. You're just tremendous, and your country needs you to stay tremendous. So don't give up the law. You both have talent, and you're very, very persuasive in the way you act and the way you argue your case.
I'm not feeling nervous because I'm just taking this. I'm going to play, not to compete. Madam Arbitrator, can I pay your attention to the record page number 90? The contracts were different, but the relationship was the same. So we want the same law for the SLA as well.
To discuss, negotiate, and finally agree on a multi-tiered dispute resolution mechanism.
Whether the preponderant part of the contract is the rendering of services.
But we are applying the International Arbitration Act because it is between two parties which are from two different countries.
We wanted to learn, we want to know about the arbitration, about the mood, travel around the world and meet people. All the purposes of the Vis Moot, we have achieved all of them.
The Afghan team does not advance in the competition, but these 4 young women are living their dream.
Now I am in ship. I'm in boat, and it's amazing. Oh, I'm being so excited and feeling so good. Oh gosh, it looks like that I'm reaching to my dreams.
I didn't expect that one day I'll be meeting this much nice people and having so much important experience and getting skills which I really need to have. So everything was just perfect in here. We feel proud that we are doing all this.
I could have never imagined to have this chance to sit in a boat and do the seaside. Now, I should believe that one of the sweetest dreams of my life have come true.
I never wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't like the law field. I was so good in mathematics, so I wanted to join engineering. But at that time, my father was so sick. He told me that, come and sit next to me and give me a promise that you are going to study law. And I was crying so much. I said, no, I'm not going. And he told me that, please give me this promise that you're going to the law school. And when I promised him, after 10 minutes, he was no more in the world. See, just I'm here because of his word that go to the law school. Each time when I feel proud of myself or my family feel proud of myself, so I remember the last words of my father that he convinced me to go to the law school. And I'm so thankful that I could come to the law school, and it's so amazing to be in here in this place. I feel it was the best experience of my life ever.
We now turn to Nadine Hafaitha, who will interview Duniya Stanikzai about her life after that first Vis Moot experience.
Thank you very much, Professor. I wanted to start by thanking Duniya for her willingness to meet with us today and to talk about her journey. One thing that I wanted to start with was what Duniya has mentioned about not wanting to be a lawyer to begin with. Can you walk us through how you heard about the Vis Moot, how you decided to participate, and how that led you to where you are today? Because I'm guessing that's a question in all of our minds right now.
Thank you so much, Nadine. It's an honor to be here. So as you have watched the video, so most of things were there. And really, I didn't want to be a lawyer, but that's how it came up with my life. And the Vis made it more concrete, and I love doing it. And since then till now, I love doing the job in being a lawyer. So the first thing how I came up with the Vis Moot was like Zmarak Khan from CLDP came to Kabul University to choose for students to compete in this Vis Moot international program. And I was one of them. And this there was a selective process, and after that we were chosen. Though at that time there were rumors, and most of boys were not selected, and they were saying that because it's US and they are trying to give more like leverage to the girls to be selected, but that was not true. Maybe we were the top 4 of those selective students to be selected in that program. And as well as something else I wanted to mention is that Vis in Afghanistan, it's not that so simple, especially according to that sensitive society. We had actually 5 students on the ground. There was one more female that she was not let by her family to go abroad. And this is like something that these kind of challenges are there. And I'm so happy to be the pioneer in this field that made it possible, along with my other colleagues, that now we have more students that they are and more families that they are willing to join in this process. And this made me a different person. Like I can count on the skills that I have learned, the English, the reading, And the job, like when I ended up doing the Vis Moot, it turned that I was not looking for the job and the people were looking for me to hire me. And that's how I ended up working with the law firms. And now I'm here pursuing my LLM at the Pittsburgh University, which is one of the best universities of the United States.
Well, thank you very much. We're very, very excited to have you. You mentioned that the Vis Moot has made you a different person. And one of your teammates has mentioned in the documentary that learning is everything. Winning or losing is not important, but learning is what matters really. Can you tell us a little bit about how the Vis Moot experience affected the lives of the people that you have worked with in that year and then going forward?
It really affected not only my life, but my life of my other colleagues and as well people in Afghanistan, because the Vis journey was not just about the 4 Afghan women, it was about Afghanistan. So when I ended up doing the Vis Moot, I along with the 2 other students, we ended up coaching other teams within the Kabul. So we coached the teams, and we had 3 teams for the next year in 2015 to compete. And that journey didn't end, and we kept enlarging those teams and those teams. So now we have around 15 teams that each year they participate, and we have a national moot. We have created an alumni that each year we have more than 100 students, 15 teams from all over Afghanistan, just not Kabul. We have reached to most of the remote provinces in Afghanistan where there's no presence of international NGOs or any other things. So we try to go there, and everyone is volunteer there. No one is doing anything for money. It's just like we want to spread the education that we got. So so we come up with that, and then we select, we have a national moot, and then we select top 2 or 3 teams to compete in the international level in Hong Kong. So that's the first impact. And the second impact I could point out is the establishment of Afghanistan Center for Commercial Dispute Resolution. After coming from the Vis Moot, the CLDP also got interested to invest in arbitration in Afghanistan. We never had an international commercial dispute resolution, but after that, through the alumni and the CLDP, we established our first Afghanistan Center for Commercial Dispute Resolution, which is now run by the Vis alumni. The director is one of the previous Vis Mooti, and the worker there, the case manager. No one can run that center better than Vis Mootis.
And I have to agree with that. One thing you also mentioned during the video, and you also mentioned now, was the challenges that you had to face as the first female Afghan team. I am wondering whether you have any advice that you can offer to not only Afghan students, but also other teams that are facing similar challenges to the one that to the ones that you have faced during your participation.
That's true. So since we were the first team, and we are from a country that our country is like a war zone since 14 years. So at that point, we were lacking books, resources like electricity, internet. These were very major challenges. Alongside with that, the security situation and the culture, like culturally, people don't like women like to educate, or especially like them going abroad and pursuing education. So these are not acceptable things for some of the people that their mindset is not open. So these were the challenges that we faced. And now even I can point out that like the recent attack on Kabul University, like we had 2 weeks ago, like our universities, our educational centers are all always like targeted. So the students going there is not like they have their life at hand and they go and risk that to get education. So but still, even now, the recent Vis team of Afghanistan, the university was attacked, but they're still trying to go and pursue their dreams and make a change to their whole country. So the advice I would give is that the other students from around the world might not have the challenges that Afghanistan has, but Vis needs time, patience, and commitment. You will feel like you're very overwhelmed. It needs a lot of work, but you will be happy with the result and the outcome if you have commitment and patience. You will be a different person with a lot of good skills, and all what you need is to give the commitment and say, I want to do it, and you will be a better person.
I'm guessing that's definitely an advice that all teams should take, and I will give that advice to my team as a coach as well. One thing that I wanted to mention, that you're giving all these people a face, all these students in Afghanistan the face. You're putting a face to their story, and you're putting a face to everyone else who is facing similar challenges to you. So people will look forward to what you do in the future and how, or what career path that you pursue. And from that point, I guess our final question to you would be, did the Vis Moot help in any way in shaping your career path so far? You're definitely our LLM student, but going forward, what do you think your plan will be?
That's true. Vis definitely shaped my career. After doing Vis, I got to know what I'm doing. So my interest was for the commercial dispute resolution in contract law, and that's what I ended up coming here to Pitt Law. I'm doing my I'm taking the subjects mostly in the contract law and commercial dispute resolution. And my goal for the future is also to be, I'm an arbitrator back in my country, but I also want to be a commercial dispute resolution specialist and the contract law lawyer to work for my country. So that's something that Vis Moot gave me to shape my career.
And I will say that you're helping with that already. The numbers are not lying. You know, with you saying that you were the first Afghan team, and then 3 teams in 2015. And in 2020, we have over 11 teams competing in the 6th Afghan Vis Moot, which is an incredible achievement that I'm very proud that you have also contributed to. I just wanted to thank you very, very much again for your time and for your willingness to share your story. Once again, I will say that you put a face to all these students who are facing really, really difficult challenges. And that is something, me as well, in my perspective, it's really motivational and supportive. So thank you very much again. I will turn it to Professor Brand again.
Yeah, just the last word. Thank you so much, Nadine. It's an honor to be here, and I would like to thank everyone that helped me to this journey and make it possible. Professor Brand, that the reason I'm here, and the CLDP team, all of them made this journey possible, not only to me but to the Afghanistan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadine, and thank you, Duniya. That was very informative. We now hear from our colleagues at the Commercial Law Development Program, CLDP.
All right, thanks, Ron. And thanks, Nadine, for that interview with Duniya. And it's so great to see Duniya on the screen. Hello to you a lot. And I hope we get a chance to talk a little bit more, especially while you're in Pittsburgh. But I think back to the time that you competed in Vis and what that meant to be there with you and the team. It was really a very special time for me to be there with you for the competition. And I'm glad I got to see with my own eyes how that all played out. You have been a phenomenal leader for your country and for your team, and certainly for anything to do with Vis, and now with ACDR and Afghanistan, you name it, you've done everything we've asked and more. And I'm sure you have a very bright career. So if you are still in touch with Argawan and Nabila and Rohila, tell them I say hello, and I wish them all the best too. But I want to turn it over real quickly to the 2 people who lead much of the Vis stuff that you saw in the film, May Sabusi and Zamara Khan from CLDP, who we also owe a lot of gratitude for all the things that they've done over so many years. But before I go, I do want to put one more plug in, working with CILE and Ron Brand and Harry Fleckner and all the people they bring into the orbit of Vis and the Vis Moot has been really one of the highlights of my career, and I look forward to many more years to come. So thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Professor Brand, for allowing us to be part of this amazing milestone. Happy birthday to CILE once again, 25 wonderful years, and looking forward to the next 25 years to continue working together. As mentioned by our Chief Counsel, Steve Gardner, Zamar Khan and I, along with other attorneys, have been working to basically spread our partnership with CILE and spreading the Vis Moot in countries that are not represented. The birth of the Middle East Vis Moot was born out of Professor Brand's idea, when originally technical assistance were provided to mostly judges and lawyers who are senior associates at partners. And he turned around the room and said, where's the next generation? And that's when he introduced us to the Vis Moot program. And that's when CLDP then focused on working to introduce international commercial arbitration and help particular countries expand on that ecosystem through the Vis Moot. And we started in Bahrain with maybe 3 or 4 teams, and now have expanded to almost 15 teams. But what really made it special is when all the CLDP attorneys that are working in different regions all over the world decided to combine resources and bring it together at the Middle East Vis Moot. They call it a pre-moot because it's really a preparatory program. And that's when things changed drastically. And that's why we love working with CILE. It's the people that we work with. When you start, students, when they start, they really don't know what they're going to walk into with this Vis Moot. They don't know the amount of level of commitment and time and expertise that is going to be needed. And thanks to CILE, we've developed a process that takes them hand in hand from the day the problem comes out to the day that they have to actually present their oral arguments in Vienna and Hong Kong. And it's I don't usually go to Hong Kong. Sometimes I go to Vienna, but my favorite part of the program is when CILE and CLDP work together at the Vis Moot, because you're getting teams after they've worked months on end on their submissions and the claimant's memorandum and the respondent's memorandum, and they're not quite ready to get to Vienna and Hong Kong. And you're getting them at that sweet spot where you're really helping them build the skills necessary to actually compete. And when you see where they started, when some of them English is their 3rd or 4th language, when they're dealing with loss of life or birth of a sibling or a new baby or a new family member, or dealing sometimes with terrorist attacks, lighting issues, kidnappings, and then you put them with people from all over the world where everyone puts all that aside, puts all the politics aside, comes together in a room and learns from one another. And they become friends for life. And they learn to fail, they learn to succeed, and they learn to grow professionally and personally. And they build all of that at the Middle of this pre-moot when we're together in Bahrain, and now when we're together virtually. And it is when you bring teams like the ones from Afghanistan, and they sit together and they're working together with teams from Tunis, working teams from Saudi Arabia, or working from other teams that don't have the same problems. It changes the dynamics of how folks learn. It changes the level of competition. It opens up doors, diplomatic commercial doors that have never been opened before. And is just, as Professor Brand says, Vis saves lives. And it really, truly has. It's been wonderful to personally and professionally see how each and every one of the students that have established teams and gone through our program continue to excel. But it doesn't stop there. It's really important that once teams are done, that they pay it forward, and they have, and you can see it here. And it's a testament to why CILE is the center of excellence. It's that the people behind it, folks who finish the Vis Moot program or compete in the Vis Moot, come back time and time again to help pay it forward, to help establish new teams and establish their own centers of excellence and help develop an ecosystem that's friendly for commercial arbitration. And then hopefully come back to do an LLM at Pitt and at CILE, and then continue to progress. So it's a wonderful model, a sustainable model, and I am personally very delighted and honored to be part of it. And, you know, there's so much more I can say, but if there's anything else I can say is that I love the fact that this program truly changes lives. It's very evident. And to be a little small part of that when the students do 90 to 100% of the work and we're just sitting by just giving them the environment to succeed. And that's all we do. We just providing you with an environment to succeed, but the hard work and all of it is basically the student. So congratulations to students who have passed on and come back to CILE and who are now becoming beacons of international commercial arbitration. And congratulations to CILE for developing the best environment to do so. Zamark?
Thank you, Mace. You know, I was going to talk about something a little bit different, but I think Duniya and Mace and Steve kind of covered a lot of the legal areas that I was going to talk about. And I think they've done such a good job that I don't want to be repetitive. So I'm going to touch on a non-legal side of the work that CILE does. In particular, this work that they do with us at CLDP, this Vis Moot program. But before I do that, I want to say one or two quick things that Duniya mentioned. The first one is I can confirm that I did not select the team because they were women. We interviewed about 20 or so team members and they were the best. And in fact, I wasn't the only one who thought so. The 3 or 4 people who were with me all thought they were the best. So we selected them because they were the best. The second thing I wanted to talk about is this impact, this model that CILE helped us create, that Duniya then led and managed, that went from one team of 4 people in the first year to in the 4th year to 15 teams and 100 participants. This is a program which has seen growth beyond the capital, actually, Kabul, at a time when the US and the international community's programs have shrunk. So because of Duniya and the Vis Alumni Network, and because they run so many things on the ground, it helped us localize the resources. So in addition to the expansion, we have also seen a reduction in the cost per student by over 80% per student from the first year into the 4th or 5th year. So that I wanted to mention this as something that Duniya mentioned. Non-legal side, one of the things I wanted to talk about is, you know, I think there are tensions in the world. It's quite clear in the past few decades. I think these tensions are in part because of misunderstandings and assumptions that we have of each other. Some people here in the US have assumptions and preconceived notions of Afghans, and in particular of Afghan women. Similarly, I think those in Afghanistan or in the broader Muslim world have certain wrong assumptions about Americans. So in addition to all of the amazing legal and economic benefits of the Vis Moot program, the one thing I would say that it has done is it has really allowed for a meaningful people-to-people contact. On the one side, it highlights to the Afghan community and to the broader Muslim community, people like Professor Brandt, someone who's deeply committed to educating people, to helping Afghanistan develop and prosper. I think he represents the kind and the softer face of America. He's about as good of an ambassador for the American people as I can imagine. And on the flip side, it highlights to America and to the rest of the world, people like Duniya, a strong and independent Afghan Muslim woman. And it thereby diminishes these negative perceptions that people may have of people like Duniya. So in that respect, I think CILE in the past 25 years has, in addition to done all of the legal and economic benefits that it has spread, I think it has fought stereotypes and it has created a meaningful people-to-people contact. And I look forward to seeing what they do in the next 25 years. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Mace and Zamarek. It really has been wonderful working with all of you and your other colleagues at CLDP. You've been a great team to work with. I might just note that although CLDP focuses on international commercial law and arbitration in this process, as I think we've seen, this process does much more. I think that we may talk about commercial law and arbitration, but what we do in many ways is human rights. And this was brought home to me best when I was in Jordan working with their team at one time, and we asked the team from the year before, tell us what it means to have done the Vis Moot, and one of the young women looked at us and said, after the Vis Moot, we no longer fear the future. We thought she was going to say things about commercial law and arbitration, but she said so much more. So now, last but not least, I'm going to invite Milena Djordjevic from the University of Belgrade to join me to discuss her work at the University of Belgrade after returning from a Pitt Law LLM. And Dr. Djordjevic is an assistant law professor and director of the Center for Legal Skills at Belgrade. Milena, thank you for joining us in this process.
Hi, hello Ron, hello everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you tonight, Belgrade time, and I understand afternoon, Pittsburgh time. Let me start by congratulating the team from Afghanistan on their first participation at the Vis Moot, and I hope there will be many more to follow. I would like to follow up these congratulations to the CLDP, who has been such a vivid supporter of the CILE activity. And of course, I would like to congratulate Ron and CILE for 25th anniversary of their work. With this being said, I have just realized that it's 20th anniversary of the Pittsburgh-Belgrade cooperation. So I congratulate Ron, you and I, for cooperating together for such a long period of time. And I hope that there will be many more decades to follow of the Pitt-Belgrade cooperation. It's been 18 years since my return from Pittsburgh, and it's been 18 years that I work at the University of Belgrade Faculty of Law. Among many of my duties, one is to lead or head the Center for Legal Skills, which actually means to coordinate the moot court activities at the University of Belgrade Faculty of Law. With this being said, I mean, this shows the first consequence or effect that the Pittsburgh education had on the curriculum of the law faculty of the University of Belgrade. Before my studies in Pittsburgh and before Pittsburgh starting the cooperation with the Belgrade law faculty, there were no moot court activities taking place at the law faculty. And now we are a vivid participant of, I think, at least 10 different international moot court competition, Vis Moot being the first among them, and thanks to the Pittsburgh support and the support of CILE. I've been coaching the Vis Moot team now. It's been 19th year of my coaching practice. Unfortunately, I never had an opportunity to participate as a student, but I know as a coach how valuable the experience is. And I see it from the experience of my mooties for the past 2 decades now on how much it has shaped and developed their careers. And I would like to use this opportunity to say, because I think it's useful for the Afghan team and all the teams in the world that are watching this webinar at the moment, that among Belgrade former mooties, we have more than 200 attorneys, some of them practicing law in Serbia, many of them practicing law in Canada, United States, UK, Germany, Austria, in leading arbitration law firms. We also have at least 10, if not more, faculty members here at the Belgrade Law Faculty who have gone through the Vis Moot experience. And I can keep on talking, Ron, unless you want to ask me something else. I mean, there's much more to say.
No, well, Milena, you've said a lot there, but maybe a little bit. I mean, what you've indicated is what you've done there has had a huge impact. You didn't do the Vis Moot yourself. You were one of the first on our set of exchanges that I mentioned earlier in the program who came to the University of Pittsburgh. Maybe you can say a little bit about when you came in, I believe it was 2001 to the University of Pittsburgh. What were you expecting?
What was I expecting? Well, I was expecting a higher level of legal education than the one that I have perhaps experienced before. And this is not, I'm not trying to be condescending on the Belgrade legal education system, but you have to think, to put things into perspective. And the perspective is that I've been studying law from 1996 to 2000. which involved the political turmoil in the region and involved student protests in 1996. So me spending most time on the streets protesting against the regime instead of in the classroom. This involved also all kinds of sanctions and restrictions that were taking place in 1999 as a consequence, again, of the political situation in the region. So, you know, when I went to the States in 2001, I expected to get this, you know, higher level of education than receiving before. And I was open to experience the new methods of teaching and studying. I was not open to your early morning classes, Ron, but I managed to go through them as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say what I was expecting, but it is important to say that I got much more than I expected. Actually, it turns out now in retrospect, studying law at the University of Pittsburgh was the best decision that I've made. And it all turned out as a, you know, it was a coincidence that the year that I graduated from the law school, Belgrade and Pittsburgh started a cooperation, and that you have selected me to be the guinea pig of our cooperation. And it just turned out that I was indeed interested in international business law and arbitration, and that the Pitt offers, what I still say in all confidence, one of the best programs in the United States when it comes to this area of law. And I was blessed to meet you and Harry, and to be your, you know, to have you as my mentors. And what happened afterwards just confirms that, you know, everything that I said is true.
But what happened afterwards didn't just happen. You went back and you made it happen. And we talked a little bit about when I first worked with CLDP to suggest using the Vis Moot in the Middle East. Can you describe how that process initially built in Belgrade and what the reaction was to it when you first suggested it?
Well, there was nothing of a sort. Moot courts were not part of the curricula in Belgrade. There was no such thing. The only competitions that we had when I was a student were rhetorics competitions, which is important for a life of a lawyer, but it's a completely different thing. It reminds acting, I think, more than it reminds the work of a lawyer. So with me studying in Pittsburgh and witnessing the Vis Moot experience, you have allowed me an opportunity to supervise or observe the preparation process of the Pitt Vis Moot team. It has inspired me to involve a different kind of teaching methods at the Belgrade Law Faculty. I was happy and blessed that the university at that time was open to the idea of reforming the curriculum. And they have, with, you know, wide arms, they have accepted this proposal to have Vis Moot as part of the curriculum. And of course, in that process, I have to admit, it helped that the Pittsburgh offered to sponsor these efforts. I'm not sure whether, you know, if you've asked the Faculty of Law at that time, whether they would be willing to finance a trip of 3 students and 2 professors from Belgrade to Vienna and to spend a week there and to pay the registration fee and to buy all those books which are necessary in preparation of the memoranda for the Vis Moot. I'm not sure whether the same response would be, but with Pitt support and with CLDP support, it just made everything easy. And then as the process went on, and as we've managed successful participation and end results from the competition itself, it of course put the students and the whole process on the spotlight as being one of the best products that the University of Belgrade Faculty of Law has to offer to the legal community in Belgrade. And we easily received the support from the local law firms and now have a self-sustainable system of legal education via moot court competitions. And as you have announced me, I'm now the director of the Center for Legal Skills, and it coordinates the moot court activities. And I'm speaking in plural because Vis Moot is not the only moot that the Belgrade Law Faculty participates in. Everyone has realized the benefits of going through the process. But we have also, inspired by your actions, and I have to say, and I underline that the law faculty and the CILE in specific were the true, you have inspired us in many of the programs that we later implemented at the Belgrade Law Faculty. So upon participating at the Vis Moot for a number of years, we have realized that the region, the former Yugoslav region and Balkan region, needs more participants in this competition. At that time, it was only Belgrade, Zagreb, and perhaps Ljubljana participating from the capitals of three, at that time, economically most developed states. But there were so many law faculties in the region that could benefit from the process. So we started the pre-moot, like you've done in the Middle East. We've started the pre-moot here in the Balkan region, aiming to bring in or share the knowledge with other law faculties from the region. And from what used to be a regionally oriented pre-moot, it is now the biggest pre-moot in the world. And we are lucky to have PIT team participating every year.
And that's a good place to wrap up, but I want to say a couple of words in wrapping that up, because Milana, what you've done is create what is, I think, widely regarded as the best pre-moot. It is the pre-moot that was the model for what we did in the Middle East. You include a wonderful conference each time on international commercial arbitration. For the PIT team, it is when we come to Belgrade that things really start ratcheting up, when the education process just goes to a much higher level. And so we may have started out teaching you, but you ended up teaching us many things. And I've seen also the impact it has had in Belgrade when we visit the law firms there and see that the top lawyers throughout Belgrade are all people who have done the Vis Moot. That's a part of your legacy there, Milana, and we are incredibly pleased to be a part of that and say that you're one of ours, and we're proud of what you've done. Thank you for that, and thank you for being with us today. With that, we are reaching the end of our time, and I want to thank all of our speakers today. I hope that in this program, those of you who are viewing have been able to get some idea of the incredible experiences we at CILE have been able to have over more than 20 years working not only with our own Vis Moot team, but with dozens of professors, lawyers, and former Vis Moot participants who have trained each year a new generation of future commercial law and arbitration lawyers. We've been able to work with hundreds of students from more than 50 law schools from nearly 20 countries. We invite you to hear more about this process when later this week we post a collection of videos from others who have been a part of this journey with us, including Professors Eric Bergston, Stefan Kroll, and Harry Fleckner. Check out our 25th anniversary website. It's law.pit.edu/CILE25. Again, thank you to all of those who spoke today. And I want to end by giving a special thank you to those close to home who make my work possible in these endeavors. CILE's program administrator, Emily Schlauch, CILE's graduate assistant, whom you've heard from, Nadine Hafaitha, and our supernatural IT team, Kim Getz, Paul Carroll, and Kim Goa. We'll be taking a break in December from these monthly celebration events, but please join us in January through May for 5 more special programs as we continue our celebration of 25 years at CILE. Again, thank you for joining us.